Hello, everybody. I just want to talk a little bit about how I used Flipgrid in my communications class. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this app, or maybe some of you have used it. So I'm not going to get into the details so much of how to use it, but just give you some ideas of what you can do in your own classroom. Like everybody else, when COVID hit at the beginning of the year, I was looking for a tool that would help my students communicate with each other in a safe online setting, especially the first year students. Our our entrance ceremony was canceled. They were kind of just thrown into the school all at once. They didn't know anybody. Everybody had a mask. It was hard to make friends. So it was a very unique situation for them. And economically, or financially, I should say, a lot of them don't have a lot of money. So they were planning to get money through working part-time, but they couldn't do that. Our school tried to have Zoom classes, but a lot of students, their home internet connection wasn't good enough. And mostly because we're a private school, I'd say their confidence in using English is very low. So I was looking for something that could not answer all the questions, but at least help the students have a more productive time in the English classroom. So basically, Flipgrid, what you do is you sign up for free and then you create your own classroom. So my classroom was the English communication classroom, and you can create your own discussion topics. So depending on the topics, the students record their own responses on their smartphones and upload the video to the site for everybody to see. What I did the first week, just got everybody testing out the app, introducing themselves to each other. And then each week I gave them a different discussion topic, depending on their textbook. When you do create the topics, I would suggest that you have separate topics for each week. At first, I didn't do this and had multiple responses, and it got kind of crazy to try and manage. So splitting up the topics each week is easier for you to manage and also easier for the students to communicate with each other. So just as an, excuse me, as an example, the topic of the textbook was fashion. So I asked the students each week to answer 3 questions. So about fashion, what's the most important thing for you when you choose new clothes? Do you buy secondhand clothes? And is it important to have the same fashion as your friend? Not only their answer, but also their reason. And we practiced how to give good reasons at the beginning of the class, or I'm sorry, the beginning of the term. So each week they answer these 3 questions and they post it to the site. Each student has their own slot for communicating with their classmates or receiving questions and comments from each other. And you're also able to edit the topic and the settings for each topic as you wish. For example, you can have a time limit. I usually give them 3 minutes to answer 3 questions. You can go as much as 10 minutes. The reason I chose 3 minutes is that I want them to give detailed answers, but I don't want them to try and say too much because everybody has a different level. You can also set deadlines, and this is very good because if you set the deadline, they are unable to post after the deadline. So you are able to see who submits on time and who doesn't. And with the deadline, if they miss it and they're unable to post, I found that from the next week on, they're more diligent about submitting it before the deadline. You can also see how many views each student has. And students can also like each other's videos. I turned off the views and the likes halfway through because some students were wondering why other students had so many views and why this student had so many likes. So to get rid of that, I just turned it off. Basically, what I used Flipgrid in the class for was communicating with each other and different classmates each week. So each week we have a different task. So the first week you give your opinion about the topic. So the topic fashion, you post your own opinion about that to your own private slot. Then in week 2, another classmate will comment on your video. So the middle girl would comment on the left side girl's comment about, video about fashion. But also you are also making another video on another topic that week. Then step 3, you reply to your classmates' comment. You thank them for their comment. And then you're also commenting on another classmate's video. And then you're also making another original video on a separate topic. So once this Flipgrid activity starts rolling, students are making 3 videos per week at least. And each pair is decided randomly. So everybody is communicating with everybody each week. So just to give you an example, I will play the comment and the reply to the classmate.
Hello, Karin. This is Saki. Your video was very interesting. I agree with you that it is not important to have the same question as our friends. I love your testing question. By the way, I have a question. What is the best shopping of clothes you have ever made? I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Okay, so she's a typical first-year student. Her English is not that great, and she doesn't have a lot of confidence, or she didn't have a lot of confidence. But as long as the other person is able to understand what you're trying to say, that's communication. So I wanted them to just get rid of their nervousness and try to just express themselves as best as they can in their own English. Also, when they comment on each other's videos, I told them you have to agree or disagree with something, but also the proper way to agree and disagree politely. Also try and maintain eye contact and don't look at the script. You could see she kind of cheated, but for the most part, she looked at the camera and tried to express herself. Now, here is the first person's reply.
Hello, Saki. Thank you for your question. I answer your question. I think the best shopping of clothes I've ever heard is my trench coat. I bought it a year ago. It cost about 9,000 yen, but it's really good quality and it matches any clothes, perfect for spring. I can also wear it on my suit. So I will wear it forever. Thank you.
All right, well, she was probably the best student in the class. But again, thanking the person for taking the time to reply to you, giving a reason for your answer, just basically having a little friendly conversation with your classmates each week. Other successful activities that I had were role plays. Now, role plays, of course, is done by at least 2 people. But in these times, we can't do that. So I told the students to do a role play by yourself, but you have to play 2 roles. So this student, in her conversation, this is between a ticket agent and a customer. So she played the role of a ticket agent and then also as the customer. You can do this within Flipgrid. students can just take the video and dump it into the app and combine it by themselves. I didn't know how much time we had, so these are just pictures, but if you'd like to see the video, I can show it to you another time. But this was very successful. Something not so successful was a question box activity. As I mentioned, each student has their own slot. And so I just said, whatever questions you have for this person each week, try to ask one classmate one question. You know, what's your favorite color? Where are you from? When's your birthday? And that just ended up being too many questions that students had to answer at one time. And the number of replies got to be between 30 and 40 a week. So that's why I mentioned if you're going to have topics, make them separate for each week so it's easier to manage. Overall, I found that the effects were the first year students formed much closer relationships with classmates. They said that they were able to see each other without their masks. They were able to exchange interesting information with each other and get a lot of positive comments about their English speaking. So their confidence in using English increased a lot, especially since this was asynchronous. They had time to think about their answer. Some students mentioned that they took the video 3 or 4 times before they felt comfortable posting it. But even though they weren't confident that their classmates could understand it, in most cases, their classmates were able to understand it and got positive reinforcement from that. So even if we return to the classroom next term to keep things safe, this is something that I'd like to continue using for the foreseeable future. And Flipgrid just updated its app. So there are now things like subtitle functions, things that the students say, they're written on the bottom of the screen as well. So you can practice speaking and reading as well. So there's a lot of things that you can do with Flipgrid. And I'm looking forward to using it more in the future. So I think that does it. So thank you for listening.